Hey guys, this is the second video from me being quarantined at home, and we're going to keep on going with the general topic of last video, which was Science Olympiad. Last video we talked about the first and most basic ramp style you'll see a lot of teams using. I encourage you to check that out. There'll be an annotation on screen now. This next ramp type is very similar to the first. The only main difference is that you have your black piece, which is your bending sheet, of either polycarbonate, acrylic, or a vinyl, or maybe a thin wood and possibly a high quality metal, unless you're concerned about it denting. So your black is still your bending sheet, red is still a wooden support structure, and in this case, when we're looking at the side view here, that wooden support structure is a piece of plywood, MDF, or really anything that provides rigidity on its planar dimension so you're not getting flex. Those make up the sides of your ramp. You actually use a jigsaw or a router if you've got one to cut out a curve into your piece of wood. You make two, one here, and then you would have one on the other side. Take a look at the three-dimension view. So you almost have these two rail-esque pieces supporting the running surface of your car. And this design is pretty good because it's very rigid, as opposed to our previous design where we just had the piece of black bending material just hanging off in space. This is rigid, as you can secure your bending sheet much lower down on the curve, ensuring a more constant radius and less variability as you move the ramp from spot to spot. This one, you get the same curve every time, because what most teams will do is they'll either use a wood glue, epoxy, or they can literally just use fasteners running right into the side of the piece of wood. So you'll actually have fasteners. If you're looking at a side view, you'd see the button head of a wood screw, and it'd go down into the wood. And let's talk about the next pro besides rigidity: price. This design's pretty cheap because it does not require any metal. You can stick with vinyl. That'd be about a $20 sheet to set you for a couple seasons. They're huge sheets, like I think 4 feet by 8 feet. And then one sheet of MDF can probably cut the job for just about anything due to its rigidity in most all dimensions. And yeah, it's a good material. I'd recommend looking into that. Most hardware stores will have it, which is nice. And you can use wood fasteners with it. It also has a good surface finish. So if you're caring about smoothness and looks, that works. Rigidity, good. Price, good. Easy to build, pretty much. I recommend learning how to use a jigsaw to cut that curve. It's a little harder to build than the first ramp type we already talked about, simply because you are cutting curves, and you want to have some precision with your drilling. You probably want to pre-drill your holes if you are putting screws up and down the sides. There are mess-ups with this design as well, some of which are similar to the first concept. The first is having an obtuse angle with the ground, where I'll draw it out right now. Same as last video, same definition, same concept. You have your wooden backing, and your ramp looks something more like that. So the car would start up here. Here's my car, and when it dispatches due to the release mechanism, stay tuned for a later video, it'll go into the ground and promptly redirect very harshly. This blue line being your ground for reference. So that harsh redirect is an issue. We talked about that in the other video. The base might not always be square. You really want to have some good building practices to make this, especially having a good flatness on your base, so that way they're not rocking. And you want to try and make them perpendicular with the ground and parallel to each other to the best of your ability when you're fastening everything together. So that kind of tied into both of these. And then one other thing that I missed to write here, but I'll write in now. This design is very good for maximizing your radius that we talked about last time. I told you why we wanted that last time. You can maximize your radius because you've got wood up here now acting as a support for this bending sheet, so there's no more torque here anymore. This is gone. You don't have the black piece pushing on the ground. That is gone. And the wood doubly acts as something of a weight up front, because now your center of mass shifts forward ever so slightly, allowing you to make this top piece thinner and thinner, so you can optimize all of that 50 centimeters of length of the ramp base for the radius, which is great. So That's a plus. All right, you know what? That'll probably just about do it. As always with this ramp design, until we get to later ones, I will caution you with not building a straight down drop because your tires have to run on this surface, and when they do, if it's straight down, they will not make good contact. You'll have intermittent contact and thus inconsistent braking. See you guys in the next video. Stay safe, wash your hands. Yeah, bye.